I see way too many people blow their accounts trying to trade this price action when it does not fit their edge. Rather than just being patient, waiting for the trend to come in, you'll find a lot easier plays if we could just show that discipline. Looking at the charts here, what is this price action? This was on Wednesday this week, where when we look back at the rest of the week, which we will do here in this video, it's almost like one or two of the days each week are going to be this gross, that we don't want to really force trades that aren't trending, right? We'll go through the open here as we have a drop outside the open range low. Maybe setting in shorts, but the blue view up here is previous day's New York view up. So you can see we can't really get below that. We can put a line on it as well. That psychological number of 5,900. Can't get below that level either. So that's why there were potential long ideas on stream as sellers couldn't break that 5,900 with selling volume. But the buyers weren't able to get us above the New York view up either. Still falling on top, still respecting this opening range low. But there's no follow through on the shorts until maybe that pop there. But that's really the only move to make money on the shorts. And it's tough to time that one because if you short at that same price all these other times, there's no real follow through. So I don't really see a way where you'd want to sell it here into 5,900 again and expect it to break when it didn't all the past few hours previously. And then you see it not be able to hold again back inside the range. I made plenty of tweets about this. If it's back inside this 15-minute opening range, if you couldn't tell already from this first couple hours of the day, if it's back inside the range, that's really not showing strong trend, because if we're 3-4 hours after the New York Open, we should be, if we are trending, making new price levels, new lower lows and lower highs if we truly are bearish and sellers are in control. So the fact that we're back in this range, literally where we started the session, we're back there 4 hours later, not the greatest sign that one side is clearly in control. You even get another pop outside through 5,900 and then right back up again to really just end the day going nowhere. So it's very tough to predict this price action. And I was actually kind of leaning bullish as we look at the 15-minute here. You can see it was kind of just obviously chopping sideways, but even from the previous day, right? Previous day's high and low, and like the pullback from overnight just couldn't get outside of this range. It maybe did on the 1 minute, right? But we're not chasing these pins on the 1 minute price action because we couldn't hold down there for at least 5 minutes or let alone 15 minutes, leaving these pins. So if you can just recognize, hey, I need trend. I'm a trend trader. The trading strategy I'm trading is trend continuation or breakout strategy. So I can't really force my trending ideas in a market that's not trending and expect to make money, right? If it was going to be trending and you take your high day view up break, lower day view up break, whatever you want to call it, you should probably make money more times than not because it is trending. So we look at the day prior on the Tuesday, the longs were working and breakouts were working because we were in trend with the 15-minute and on the 1 minute. Same thing on Monday. When we started the week, we pull back to the daily view up here, which turns into the start of week view up, and we find continuation longs. So if there's trend in the market, any continuation play, we can look at some here. And this goes back to the point real quick that I was saying, if it's inside that zone, this first 15 minutes of the day, just leave it alone. All of this. Too confusing, too consolidated. No one's really holding control, right? We popped outside the open range low, but right back inside. All right, well, I'd like sellers to really control us and continue us lower all day if they're going to really be in control. So just let it get outside the range, but not only let it get outside the range, the trade price that you want to be taking should also come outside of the range, right? Because let's say we did break outside of the opening range low here. Doesn't mean I want to sell it back inside of it just because we were just outside of it previously. Does that make sense? Hoping that it gets back outside again. Show me that you can get outside of these levels because then you can see the break here. Break of high day, right back inside the range, so I can't touch it. But then once it gets back outside again, now with these higher lows underneath, break of high day view up, there's trends starting to set in. We're outside that range. This is where I can maximize. This is where I could take payouts. This is where I could win more times than not because I'm just following the trend. But there's no trend to follow on this Wednesday. So I think it's just recognizing it as early on in the day as possible, right? Let's go back to the 1 minute chart here or just the lower time frames in general. I'd say by this point in the day, before we even break out to that 5,900 level at like 11 o'clock here, when we're in this price level here, can't get below this previous day's New York view up. Can't really break the New York view up to the upside. Buyers aren't in control, but I don't want to sell it into the support level. Recognize that there's nothing to do here. I don't need to force an idea. Even if the shorts do work out here, which I think they might because of all these lower highs and the holds of New York, even though you would have been right, doesn't necessarily mean we needed that or that you missed that setup of, oh, that was so good. I knew it wanted to fall. No, you didn't. You didn't know that was the time it was going to break 5,900. And even if you did, it comes right back up. So if you didn't take profits, first of all, probably get a donut on that. And second of all, it's just a tough one to time that you don't want to get in the habit of trying to time those trades and saying that you need them, because you could very quickly be forcing the shorts, jumping back in the longs, back in the shorts, back in the longs, flip-flopping way too much, not really seeing ideas through or even having a thesis of what you're looking for, what key levels are you trading off of, and it could very easily spiral throughout the rest of the day. So I think just recognizing earlier on, is this my trending conditions? Because this is what I need in order to find my winning setups that have gotten me success. That's why I also think it's huge to do TradeZella and marking up your trades and doing good report cards, so that you can physically go back and look at your markups and you'll see all the nuances in it. I mean, I have some of them here. That's a high day break there. New high day, pullback, break of high day, view up. Trend continuation. We're outside of the levels. We're above view ups. Okay, based off of all my history of doing markups, this is what my best setup looks like. So when it presents again, I'm going to take it. But on that Wednesday, that is not what my best setups look like. They don't look like trying to time the break and the chop and the consolidation, whatever. So not letting the ego tell us, hey, I could try to make money out of any move here. Maybe at any moment this does want to do whatever it wants. Don't try to predict every single move. Wait for the setup to be almost easy. You don't want it to be obvious and you're tracing amateur trades up here, right? You don't want to be buying it up here because it looks super bullish. You still want to wait for your setup. But at this point in time, when I'm taking this long, which is the day prior to that choppy Wednesday we're going over here, I know I want to buy it. So now it just comes down to, where do I want to buy it? When do I want to buy it? What key level do I want to buy it off of? If I could just clearly know what direction I want to trade in, then I could probably execute with a little bit more confidence, wait for that specific setup to present, get a good price. But on this Wednesday, if I'm willing to buy it or sell it, hey, depending on what these next two candles do, I'll do whatever it says. If it's not super clear, it's not screaming at me, I don't need it. I want the trade to be easy and confident. I want it to be, yeah, this definitely looks bullish. I need to be buying it, right? Because if you could just survive that Wednesday, that's really all it is. If you just survive, you come back in the next day without it blowing your account, without taking too big of a loss because you tried to force trades in this chop, you come back in the next day, there's the beautiful trend. And then you take your high day view up break, high day view up break, high day view up break, and you make your money there in trending conditions where you know you should have. And by this time, you definitely know you want to be buying it. So there's no question on direction. If you've seen any videos on this channel, I pretty much tell you where you want to be buying it or selling it depending on the trend that day. So if you've seen the videos, you know where on this day you'd want to buy it. So there's really no confusion or hesitation or lack of confidence, because it's just following the trend, playing high probabilities, and letting it play out over a long period of time. But one more note on this, I also did make a video on this given day. But let's just rewind it to here. Same idea. When it's inside this range, I'll box it off and we'll turn it red just so it doesn't look good. It looks like red. Stop. Don't do it. It's inside this range, so I don't care about any longs in here, maybe a short in there, long, short, I don't care. Too confusing, not clear enough, not running enough, not enough trend to really push my trades at a quicker pace. That any trade I'm taking, I'm probably going to have to sit through some drawdown. Now, even though I may win, nobody wants to sit through drawdown for an hour or so if they don't have to. So just wait for it to, break for a new high today. Finally, maybe some trend setting in. If I can get a pullback still outside of this level, right? I don't want it to come back inside here and then maybe long it. If we could hold up here, then I'd be looking for some nice more longs later. And that's exactly what you get. So I think just recognizing that this range recently more than ever is a little bit more dangerous to trade within. It's also telling you it's not really trending. And for me personally, and I think many of you watching, you'd rather trade in trend than trying to force trades from a range of selling it at the bottom or selling it to the bottom and buying it to the top. Those are tougher to do than just saying, hey, we're making new higher highs and higher lows. Let me just wait for a pullback and jump on this clearly bullish train. That's really what we all do a lot better than the ranges. So just let it play itself out. But the big lesson on this is just the price action is clearly garbage. I'm impressed if anyone really made solid money of like no losses, just 2-0 on the day, they're out. Because it was very whipsaw, very unclear, very looking like it was going to go short, flip back bullish. So on the last note of it, let's go back to the 15-minute here. And I did make a video about it, but I do want to touch on it just one more time. Like I said at the beginning of the video, when you zoom out to the week, slow it on down. This is the one day that we're going over in this video of how ugly and choppy it was, the Wednesday. That's just one day this week. Monday was beautiful trending longs. Tuesday was beautiful trending longs. Thursday as well. And even Friday in the afternoon. So 4 days gave great opportunities. But I felt on this Wednesday when it was not clear great opportunities, I still needed to trade. I still wanted to use full size. I still wanted to trade all day. You're going to have different outcomes than if you traded all day and every setup on at least these trending days. I don't suggest that either. But notice how it's a patience game. Not every single day is going to be hitting home runs, and not every day is going to be lining up for our edge, for easy reads. And you just got to recognize that as soon as possible, right? It looks gross now. We can even go back to that Friday. It wasn't clean in the morning right at the open. It took about an hour to pop, but it eventually did. This Wednesday was choppy and stayed choppy, right? So recognize, hey, this doesn't look really clean right now. Going to take a break. If it can work itself out later, I'll be willing to play in it if there soon is some trend. But if there's not trend, I'm not going to touch it. And on that day, you would have never touched it because trend never came in. But on all the other days, if it even starts out choppy, doesn't mean just write off the entire day. Just have the discipline, have the patience, no FOMO of saying if trend can set in, that's when I could have my high probabilities. Then I'll look to get involved. If not, I'm fine. It's just one day. Knowing that minus $100 today is going to be way better than $1,000 because tomorrow if I could just come in and make 500 on the clean trending days, I'll be in good shape, right? So just on these days that are choppy, just look to not blow your account. Put your max daily loss in. They have that on Project X if you're trading with top one futures. That's the huge gift of it. Just set in the max daily loss. So even if you do go on tilt on these tilty days, on these choppy days, the damage shouldn't be that bad. But like I said, hopefully you guys found value in it. Hopefully you guys slow yourselves down. And we all fall into it. It's so easy to get trapped into these choppy days. I'm not saying I'm special by any means. It's just knowing what you do well and what you don't do well. There's no wrong saying, I don't trade this range well. I don't know where this is going. Doesn't make you a bad trader. Doesn't make you nothing. It makes you human of saying, yeah, this is super unclear. So the smart play would be, let me step off. The aggressive play would be, yeah, this looks unclear, but I don't care. I want to trade it. That's two different stages of your trading career. If you do that long enough, you'll touch the stove long enough, you're going to say, yeah, I'm kind of done trading that chop. That's all it is. I've seen this play out so many times that I recognize that it's trying to get me in, but I've just been hurt too many times trying to force it. I know that there's great opportunities right around the corner, aka the next day and the next day. So slow yourselves on down, zoom out, be patient. Let me know if you need me. Leave a like, leave a comment. What other videos you guys like to see? More price action stuff, psychology, trade zealous stuff. Always let me know, but I appreciate you guys. Follow your rules. I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.